Hi, my name is Elise and welcome to my first YouTube video. For today's video we will be in Glimmer Brook working on the Brook Bridge Borough residential lot. I have had a challenge idea for a while now and I admit it's probably not a new idea, but I haven't seen it before. I call this challenge the EA Shell Challenge. In this challenge you will take one of EA's builds and you will delete everything except the external walls. So that means the roof, windows, doors, everything. After you have deleted everything, you will be able to treat this like a normal shell challenge. So just like a normal shell challenge, you can do anything you want to the internal walls, but the external walls must remain the same. You can rotate it on the lot. You can move it around on the lot. You can change the height of the foundation. You can change the height of the walls. The only thing you cannot do is add to the external walls. So you can't add a wall touching build. Please like and subscribe. I promise more videos will be coming. I started doing all the removal of the objects inside off the camera. That way you didn't have to worry about looking at that. I've also not recording quite a chunk of it. Well, I've recorded it, but I've since deleted that footage to cut the video down. This was originally a 7.5 hour build. I know it doesn't look like that, but I'm a little bit pedantic at times, and I was very pedantic with this build because I knew it was going to be my first YouTube video, and that made me take even longer, which meant I had a lot more work to do. I played around with the roof quite a bit. I apologise for all the spinniness. I do endeavour to cut most of that out when I am editing this video, but alas, I'm very new to this. I have never recorded videos for YouTube at all before. This is all completely new for me. I've been playing Sims since Sims 1, on and off. I didn't really develop a love for it until Sims 3. Sorry, all the Sims 2 lovers out there. I didn't really play Sims 2 very much. I had Sims 2 because my uncle bought me Sims 2 University expansion pack as a gift, but didn't get me the base game, so my mum then had to buy me base game. And this is years back, obviously. I started playing Sims 4 last year, so I'm really late to the Sims 4 game. I've just been playing Sims 3, and when I first played Sims 4 when it first came out, I hated it. But for a start, it didn't have toddlers, it didn't have terrain manipulation, it didn't have pools. So I was like, nah, this is crap, and I put it down. But then last year I had another go at it, and I found I really enjoyed it, and the building in it is so much easier than building in Sims 3. I love what they've done with how they have made it such a easy mode to work with, and everything is very much click and go. I also love the rooms feature in building, and the fact you can clone a room. And that you can like grab a wall and drag it, and it'll drag the entire room out. You don't have to delete walls and redraw them. With the kitchen here, I'm really quite proud of the kitchen. I did cut a lot of the stuff I did out. It was the room I spent the longest time on. Later on, you'll see that it becomes very cluttered. So I tend to use the inbuilt rooms. Oh, I just placed that light. That light there is the bane of my existence. I had to re-record the outro, retake screenshots and all sorts of things because I didn't notice that light. So at the very end you'll see it's gone, but it'll be there for the rest of this speed build because I just don't seem to notice it. When I did notice it, I was cringing, and my husband thought it was hilarious because he was doing the video editing with me. Anyway, back to what I was saying about the cluttering up of this room. I use the tool mod to do things, and I also use move objects on a lot. And then there is the red shelf. I've forgotten who it is by, but I will link that in the description. I have only just started using that shelf, and it is by far one of the greatest mods ever. With that shelf, you can set things that, when you have shelves that are built into the game that don't have any placement for items, you can use that shelf to set the height and then place it, instead of using the 9 and 0 keys to raise it up or lower it down, which means you have more interval options to raise things. So I absolutely love that mod, or custom content, or CC, whatever you want to call it. The main reason I decided to build in Glimmer Brook is I'm actually a massive occult fan. If you would look in my bookshelf, you'll just see like heaps and heaps of books about witchcraft and vampires and immortals and things like that, and angels and demons and all that kind of stuff, and I'm really into that. So I've been watching Claire Siobhan. She's the one that got me into Sims 4, actually. I started watching her YouTube videos and then went, oh, Sims 4 looks pretty cool. And her occult series really dragged me into The Sims. Well, Sims 4 in general. Sims in general I'd always been obsessed with. But Sims 4, that was what dragged me into it. And I recently got this pack. And I just really wanted to build in it. I'm a teacher, so I don't really get a lot of time to do a lot of things I want to do, like building. But my husband and I just got a really awesome gaming PC that my husband built for me and for himself. And yeah, so I can finally do these kinds of things without waiting like 2 hours for the laptop to load the game, because the laptop we had wasn't very good. Yeah, and when you're a teacher, you don't have 2 hours to wait for something to load, because in that 2 hours there's heaps of other things you could be doing. So I have now taken advantage of the fact we have a faster computer to then pursue my desire to have a YouTube channel, which I've been thinking about since I started really getting into Sims YouTube and watching Delicacy and Claire Siobhan and James Turner. They were the main ones I originally watched. I'm now into some of the newer channels, like For the Love of Sims, Sam Sims, whose channel is currently inactive, but her content was absolutely incredible, so send her love. And by watching these channels, I went, I want to do this. I want to share my builds. I want to share my stories. So this build we're working on right now is actually going to be the build I use for my Let's Play. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm here using that red shelf, and I've placed some items, and we've kind of skipped forward, and the kitchen's now more cluttered. My Let's Play I'll talk about more when I do my Cass video, which I don't know when it'll come out. I apologise, I still haven't figured out a schedule yet. But I'm going to be doing a Cass video, creating the characters for it. And when I do that Cass video, I'll explain more in detail about the Let's Play that I'm planning on doing. But it will be an occult Let's Play. I don't really do normal gameplay. I tend to do the unrealistic. And my reasoning behind that is we all live in real life. We all see real life all the time. Let's have a bit of fun. Oh, that plant there from Tiny Living. I tried to place that plant twice, and both times it just didn't fit the build. I really liked that plant. I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't put it in. Yeah, so here I am just working out how to do these windows again. These windows on the side of the build here took me a while, and you can see I touched them like 6 times probably in this video, and heaven knows how many times I've cut out of the video for you guys to see. I kept changing my mind on them, and the windows you see there now are not the final window. I do actually change my mind again. But this is me planning the layout of the house. So I did keep kind of this original layout in the sense of that it had the lounge living area to the right and the kitchen to the left. But I am making this into a 2-bedroom house instead. I made the bathroom much smaller, because you don't need a gigantic bathroom in The Sims. They just need enough space to get around. So you see me, I boxed in that bathroom a second ago. So here I'm now choosing the outside colouring of the house, and I had a reference picture that I was looking at because I looked up witch's cottage and things like that, and I looked over a few pictures, and a lot of them had very dark kind of tones, and I wanted to keep that kind of feel. Oh, I also did a bit of a trick there with the roofing that you may have picked up. So I tried to keep that feel, but I also wanted this to still feel quite welcoming, because I want this to feel like a nice, kindly kind of witch lives here, not some scary person cackling over a pot. So I picked my colour scheme based off of that, but later on the internal colour scheme will change. At the moment it's really black inside, and it will change to very brown inside when we get to that. I really want to use that window, which is why it's on the side there, but I ended up deleting it. It just didn't fit the build, so I'll have to use that in another build. I do really like that window. I've used it in builds before. The panelling on the side here looked really cool, but I thought that the stone looked better and kind of fit the world a bit better. So the windows you see there now, these are the windows I end up staying with. I don't change them again. And I'm using a trick here with the counter where I raise my windows so that they sit the same height as the counter. This means it's a sensible height for a sim to look out through. And not only a sensible height for a sim to look out through, but it provides a point where all my windows have the same baseline. So when you're doing a full length window, you don't have this issue. But when you're doing a shorter window, if you don't have that same baseline, it becomes a bit difficult at times to get your windows all the same height. So I tend to use counters as my baseline. If I'm not using a counter, I may pick one table that's going to be the table baseline I use, or a coffee table that for that build, I will use that as the baseline for the window. I don't usually build in medium wall height. I most commonly build in the short wall height, because the short wall height is just easier to work with. But this build just seemed to need that medium wall height to get that feel I was going for. So it was originally a medium wall height, and I didn't change that. Here I am trying to choose the couches. I hovered over it, but that couch would be nice, but then I wanted to see what other options there were. So I ended up going back to the original couch that I hovered over. And then there's a matter of me trying to work out the layout in this room. I do a lot of play testing in my builds as well that I end up cutting out in the final video. So all my builds are fully play tested, because that way, if you guys ever download them off the gallery, you don't have to tweak things, move things, and delete things to be able to have things actually be functional within the build. I don't like the size of the coffee table in the middle of the room here, but I don't like downsizing them, because when you downsize them and then as them put things like plates down, they hover above it, and that just personally bugs me. So here you see me doing the colour change. So I take everything down to a nice brown tone to give that warmth into the home. The kitchen also does change a little bit. The cooker and the fridge end up swapping, and you may have noticed the kitchen's already smaller. I shrunk it down because I wanted more room for the dining table and for the bedroom. So I've already shrunk it down. You can see that everything's kind of shuffled across here. I wanted this really cluttered kitchen because I want to give the impression that the person that lives here is really into mixing herbs together. And the coziness of the lounge area here is because the person who lives here will be a witch, and she will have many other witches coming, and they will discuss things that are witchy stuff in that living area. This is kind of like the Coven's main meeting area, or Coven, however you say it. I'm not Wiccan, so I'm not really 100% sure. A lot of people don't like this runner from Vampires, but I really like that runner. I love the fact that you can piece it together and choose the length. I also really like the carpet here, which is from the Get Famous pack. It's awesome for old looking builds, so I tend to use it a lot for that. You can see me now choosing the internal wallpaper. So I picked one that I was going to carry throughout, and I just changed the colour of the painted section of it, but kept the wood panelling the same, because I wanted to have that feel that every room is individual, but it's all part of the same home, the same unit. Don't get too attached to the round table. It does get yeeted away, because when you have something in the middle of that table, Sims can't eat at the table very well. It hasn't got many placement spots on it. Yeah, so here I am looking at the wall lights, and I originally choose the Rumble Magic wall light and I put it beside the door here, and then I remembered that that would have that glowing orb, and I want from the outside people to think this is just a normal home, and then when you come inside you're greeted by all the magic. My cat doesn't use a litter box inside. A lot of people here in Australia, their pets go to the toilet outside, so I put the litter box outside because you require a litter box for a cat in The Sims. And I will hide that in the bushes later. Not really hide because I don't know how well a cat could use it if I hide it, but it's in the bushes a little bit later. Here I decided that the door was too short, and I decided to go for that door there instead. Being a witch's home, they need their broomsticks near the door, and I grabbed out a selection of wands to separate throughout the house. Oh, here I'm using the tool mod. It was my first time really having a go with this mod. So I wasn't really 100% sure how the axis side of things worked. I knew how to move things off the lot using it, but I'd never used it to rotate things before. So this was me having a go with that for the first time, and then trying to raise it up to the right height, because I wanted like a glowy, orby, kind of magical type of thing in the middle of the room as the chandelier. There was nothing in game that really met that wasn't humongous. Yeah, so I'm putting down a shoe rack because it is 2 women that live in this home. So it's just a women's shoe rack. Here I'm trying to find something to cover up the metal, and then I decided, nah, just keep it. It's not so bad. I put those little hearts on the wall because I just thought they were cute. I do tend to have entitlements unlocks on when I play because as a builder, I don't really care about having to unlock it. I just want to use it when I want it. So doing the outside now, and the outside of the build here, I wanted to be very flowery, lots of plants. Oh, this is what I mean when you can't eat anything on the table with that on the table. I wanted that on the table. Witch's cat, just as this is a witch's home kind of insignia out the front. Yeah. I don't know why this isn't in outdoor seating. It doesn't look like an indoor seat to me. Maybe that's just me being from Australia and we don't really use that kind of thing inside our homes. Well, we don't tend to, at least. We have quite modern homes in Australia. It's all very new areas, in Western Australia in particular, and where I live. So I have never really seen a chair like that inside a home, so I put it outside, and I wanted that chair. I use a bit of a trick here when I'm doing this. I want to try and match it to the cobblestone of the road, so it looks like the driveway is just leading up to the home, and I just use a little bit of editing there. So here I'm placing the fence. Oh, I use UI cheats. You just see me now adding a whole heap of money that suddenly disappears from nowhere. I use that and MC Command Center. Those are the main ones I tend to use when it comes to building and even playing in general. I also use Slice of Life as one of the other mods that I tend to play with. So here I'm making a vegetable type of witchy garden. So I'm putting down these lines. I'm putting them on the grid lines because it just makes them nice and straight then. So here I'm putting in mandrake. I end up moving the mandrake because of how short it is, and I wanted the taller plant there. That is catnip that I've also placed. And then valerian root is the next one I'm going to place. So the valerian root and the mandrake end up being swapped. And I get my sim to plant it, and then I use MC command to make it so it's in bloom. So I've planted apple trees on the end there, and then I put lemon trees in the middle here. I actually just learnt now that there was 2 types of lemon trees when you have debug menu open. I didn't know that previously. I don't know how I overlooked that. I'm doing a bit of a trick here where I wanted the toilet paper to be beside. So I delete the walls, I raise it up, and I just put it on the side of the sink. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like having to reach behind myself when I go to get toilet paper. That is the only part of the bathroom you will get to see, because watching bathrooms get built is boring. Sorry to anyone that puts that in their videos. I find it boring personally, so I'm not going to inflict that on you. I just got laundry day. So I'm super excited to be using it. I don't know about launch day very much yet, but I do know that if you don't have a hamper, they just leave clothes everywhere. I discovered that when playtesting. So later on, you'll see me suddenly hampers will appear. I'm pretty certain I deleted me putting them in. Yeah, so I'm setting up like a children's room now. So one of the other characters that are going to be living in this home is a child. She's not like a little child, she's an older child, but she's still young enough to appreciate all of the little kid kind of things. Being a witch's home, the child is a spellcaster, and they will end up with as close to spellcasting kind of things as I can put in this room. So one of the things I end up placing is the Junior Wizard set. I know this is a massive fire risk, so don't go crazy at me in the comments going it's going to be a fire risk. I know, I'm accepting that, but I do like it. I did not play test the children's room, I just realised that. But my knowledge of how Sims move, I'm pretty certain that won't be an issue. And if it is, you just shift the activity table across a tiny bit and it'll be fine. Here I was placing items using that shelf again because those books would not slot into there and I wanted them in there. Yeah, so I'm using the shelf here again because there is no slot on top of this fireplace, which I think is just stupid, like not in the middle there. So I've slotted that into that location. So here I had a different carpet in the children's room, but then I wanted to keep that consistency throughout, so I put that carpet in. This is where I put the glowy lights in to really hint that it was a magical room. It took me a little while to figure out how I was going to lay out this room because I had in mind the kind of person who's going to be using this room, and trying to get that across was a bit difficult. So it took me a little while to lay it out and to then work out what things I wanted in there. But I'm pretty happy with how it ended up. The person who lives in this room, this is their room. They're not really the type to sit in their room for long periods of time. They are more the type to go sit in the living room. But then again, they still have things in their room that they would tend to do, like their journal, for example. That is a very personal thing to them. They always keep a journal. I know from friends who practice witchcraft that they have their, I think they call it Book of Shadows, something was what my friend was calling it, where they keep a journal of like the different spells and things they've done. So that's the kind of thing I was trying to go for with putting the journal down. Yes, this is me trying to make the kid a little bit older with my style design. They're not a very good artist though. Yeah, so here I'm trying to find some paintings that match. Now, I know when you size this one up, it has the shadows behind it, and some people that really bugs, but for me, I just wanted to accept it because I really like those pictures and they really need to be sized up to fit this build. So if those shadows annoy you and you want to download this, just size it down or find a different picture. They don't annoy me that much, so I was perfectly fine with them being there. So here I am placing the wands into the wand boxes. So I've now got 3 wands that I had out earlier and all of them are now in the box. So I sized it down then to have a look. I'm like, nah, it needs to be bigger. So I'm using a lot of like historical kind of pictures in this home, and when I do the Cass video, I'll explain the character and to why they have that. Yeah, I did the gardening off camera for the front garden bit because I just didn't see the point for you watching me put down flowers and change colours. This section here I really like. I myself am not really into yoga or meditating and things like that, but I appreciate why others are into it. I'm just not into it because I can't sit still that long doing nothing. I just can't handle that. I have to be doing something. Like, even right now while I'm talking to you guys, I'm moving my hands and you can't even see me. So I appreciate that people that are into yoga and things like that would enjoy a nice, relaxing place to do this. And being witches, when you use the wellness skill and witchcraft together, you can have spellcasters who practicing this wellness skill, and they are now floating and levitating and stuff because they've got maximum wellness skill, and I think that would look really cool. So I'm building this kind of little meditation area where the witches can go and focus themselves before doing magic and things like that. I then went into debug, and I had completely forgotten about these hangers there in debug. I can't wait for Nifty Knitting with all the hanging plants that are coming with that. So I'm putting these up here just to add that extra something of depth to the home. I then noticed they were kind of just floating on nothing because the roof hasn't got a ceiling underneath it. So I'm just building a floor here to put a ceiling underneath that, and now they're like hanging off of something instead. I probably should have brought them down just a fraction after I did that so that the bolted part could be seen, but I worried if I did that I then wouldn't get them back up there properly again, or that when the bolt bit was seen, they wouldn't quite touching the roof. So I was like, nah, just leave it. Adding some bit of interestingness to the roof now. I didn't change the roof texture. I kept the default because I liked the default. So here I am adding a bit more to this little meditation area. I go back to this a few times when something strikes me and I go, oh, that's something I can add to it. I just wanted it to have that kind of wonderful feel. So here I'm adding some rugs into the build. You may notice in the little girl's room there's a lot of bunny themed things. I concluded that she likes rabbits and that was one of the little things about her, so I put that in as well. As a teacher, originally primary school, now high school, you do not let children do art on carpets without putting something underneath it. It will make a mess. All children will, no matter how neat you think your child is. You can tell them 1,000 times be careful. They are trying their best to be careful, but it's not something kids are very good at. They haven't developed that skill yet. So I put that in there as well. So here I am back in the area, and you can see the clothing where I had my sim try meditating there with the tree over the top, and the left pile of clothing. So I now added hampers and removed that clothing. My sim during this recording during this speed build while I was playtesting, she wet herself 6 times before I remembered I can turn that off. So I regularly had to take things out and get her to mop up where she had peed herself because she couldn't get to it because there's a table in the way. It was so annoying. So here I'm adding in the bee box to help with the gardening, and then I was trying to find the bug box and I didn't know what it was called. So I typed bug, I typed several things, and then eventually I knew what section it would be in, so I went looking for it. I don't imagine my bugs will last very long in my Let's Play. I can see me deleting that box simply because I have seen so many people using this bug box and they just die so easy. If you're not nurturing them every second of the day, they die. The milk pail you can see here, that was originally inside, but because of where the cat bowl was, there's quite a large footprint around that milk can, and it won't let you won't let the sim access anything that's in that footprint. So if you have the cat food bowl in there, it won't work. So that pail gets moved another time again because then the sim couldn't get to the umbrella stand. Lots of little clusters of 3 because 3 is a very pleasing number for the eye. And then I kind of just wanted one more plant. So I put this one in. I almost used Vic Zella's favourite mirror, but I decided against it because it didn't quite fit the build. So you can see me here shuffling pictures around and changing my mind on them, putting a few more rugs down. This is kind of like finishing touches kind of feel to the rest of the build. Me trying to choose what kind of rug matches the character who's using this room. They're not really that glamorous or that bright. They're very muted. I gave thought to putting the bird feeder in. And then I had the thought, I think the birdhouse acts as a bird feeder. I'm not 100% sure, so I'll see how that goes. Because I do want birds to come to this slot. I want there to be wild birds fluttering around. I want it to have very nature feel. So you can see me now. I'm adding in some glowing orbs to really give this the feel that I want it to have. I don't show you this in my walkthrough at the end, how that looks in play mode, but you saw a glimpse of it just then. This is me making sure the lighting is fine for outside, for what I need, but the lighting inside is fine. I opt to not have any large lights outside. I wanted it to still have that kind of, the cottage is dark kind of feel. Yeah. And then I wanted to have sort of that coziness out the front. So I wanted to go out the front and have a cup of tea and sit by the beautiful plants and smell the nice clean air. I put down a side table next to that to put one of the combinations on. I then size it down, but when you size it down, the flame kind of hovers weirdly, so I sized it back up again. We're almost at the end now, actually. Yep, here we are. So here I am now doing the walkthrough of the house. I decided to do it in the day. I originally made the video at night, but I thought, no, it looks better in the day. I'm very new to tab mode, so I apologize. It's a little bit jarry, but I will get better. So you can see here how beautiful this would be to sit down on the front porch and just watch the world go by. Inside it feels very cluttered but not claustrophobic. That glow bar is accessible, by the way. My sim is completely drunk from using it on repeat because I had to keep player testing it, and every time I player tested it she would drink the drink, so she got very tipsy very fast. So here we are looking at the dining room. It is quite a cramped little dining space, but it's fully accessible. In the master bedroom, you can see that I placed in... I love the view out the window from this bedroom. It kind of looks out into the forest, because I don't know if you noticed, but I put a bunch of trees on that side of the house, debug trees. So I placed the hampers, and you can see that they're there and in use. Here's the bathroom finished. Quite simple, but nice at the same time. So the glowing happens night and day. It looks prettier at night. So just showing the different plants. So see how I got the valerian root, the catnip, the mandrake, the lemons, and the apples. And then I thought my sim would love to sit down and just see how relaxing that kind of thing would feel. So I got the swing set because the child lives here. You can see that there was the cat litter tray between the bushes. I got the one that they don't have to clean out because I don't like dealing with cat litter, and my sim shouldn't have to either. So we're about to scoop up into the sky and have a look at the floor plan from above. I hope you enjoyed my build. It's available on the gallery under the username Dezline. I just haven't managed to change my username yet, but look it up under Dezline. Enjoy!